Seven Wonders is a board game created by Antoine Borza in 2010 and originally published by Repos Production in Belgium. Seven Wonders is a card drafting game that is played using 3 decks of cards featuring depictions of ancient civilizations, military conflicts and commercial activity. The game is highly regarded, being one of the highest-rated games on the board game discussion website BoardGameGeek. Seven Wonders has won a total of more than 30 gaming awards, including the inaugural Kennerspiel des Jahres Award in 2011. Gameplay: Seven Wonders is a dedicated card deck game that features ancient civilizations. At the start of the game, each player randomly receives a gamebot called a wonder board. Each board depicts one of Antipater of Sidon's original 7 Wonders of the ancient world. Players place cards representing various materials and structures around their wonder boards. The boards are double-sided. The wonders on side A are generally easier to build, while those on side B grant more interesting benefits. Seven Wonders is played over 3 ages, known in the game as Ages I, II and III, each using its own decks of cards. In each age, 7 cards are randomly dealt to each player. The game uses a card drafting mechanic in which, once per turn, each player selects a card to play from his or her hand, then passes the remaining cards to the next player. This process is repeated until 5 out of the 7 cards have been played. At this point, each player must choose to play one of his remaining 2 cards and discard the other. Each age card represents a structure, and playing a card is referred to as building a structure. To build a structure, a player must first pay the construction cost, in coins or in one or more of the 7 resource types, then lay it down by his or her wonder board. A player lacking the resources available may pay his direct neighbors to use their resources, normally at 2 coins per resource, if available. Instead of building a structure, a player may choose either to discard an age card to earn 3 coins from the bank or to use the card to build a stage of his or her wonder. The wonder boards have from 2 to 4 stages, shown at the bottom of the board. To build a wonder stage, a player must pay the resource cost listed on the stage, then put an age card underneath the wonder board in the appropriate place. There are 7 types of age cards, representing different types of structures, and are determined by the color of their background. Red cards contain shield symbols. These are added together to give a player's military strength, which is used in conflict resolution at the end of each age. Yellow cards have several effects. They can grant coins, resources and/or victory points or decrease the cost of buying resources from neighbors. Green cards: each card has one of 3 symbols. Combinations of the symbols are worth victory points. Blue cards: all grant a fixed number of victory points. Brown cards provide 1 or 2 of the 4 raw material resources used in the game. Gray cards provide 1 of the 3 manufactured goods used in the game. Purple cards generally grant victory points based on the structures a player and/or his neighbors have built. Brown and gray cards only appear in the Age I and II decks. Purple cards only appear in the Age III deck. At the end of each age, military conflicts are resolved between neighbors. This is done by comparing the number of shield symbols on the player's red cards, and awarding victory points accordingly. Once all 3 decks have been played, players tally their scores in all the different developed areas. The player with the most victory points wins. In the base game, there are 7 means of obtaining victory points: military victories, 1 point for each victory during the first age, 3 for the second age and 5 for the third age. Each defeat makes a player lose 1 victory point regardless of the age. Gold coins: 1 point for every 3 coins a player possesses at the end of the game. Wonder stages: many of the wonder stages grant a fixed number of victory points. Civic structures: each structure grants a fixed number of victory points. Commercial structures: Age III commercial structures grant victory points based on certain structures a player has built. Guilds: the guilds provide several means of gaining victory points, most of which are based on the types of structure a player and/or his neighbors have built. Scientific structures: each green card has a symbol on it, tablet, compass or gear. 1 card of a type grants 1 victory point, but 2 cards grant 4. The number of points granted is equal to the number of symbols possessed squared. Additionally, Each set of tablet, compass and gear possessed is worth 7 points. Expansions. Official expansions equals, at present, 4 official expansions have been released. 7 Wonders, Leaders. This expansion introduces the white-backed leader cards, which can be recruited to aid a player's city. The 36 leader cards are based on real historical figures, some of which are well known, such as Caesar and Midas, others less so. There is a brief biography of each leader in the rulebook. Playing with the Leaders expansion changes the game mechanic, as the second thing done in the game after choosing a wonder board is to choose leaders. 4 leader cards are dealt to each player, and the cards are drafted so that each player ends up with 2 cards they chose and 2 they did not. At the start of each age, players may recruit 1 leader, paying its coin cost and putting it into play. To compensate for this extra expense, with the Leaders expansion, players start with 6 coins instead of 3. As with the age cards, instead of recruiting a leader, a player may choose to discard the card to gain 3 coins or build a wonder stage with it. The leaders grant various abilities, including additional means of gaining victory points, resources or coins, resource cost reductions, commerce benefits, additional shields and scientific symbols. For example, the Caesar card grants 2 shields and Midas grants 1 extra victory point per 3 coins held at the end of the game. The expansion comes with 4 additional guild cards and 1 extra wonder board, the Colosseum of Rome, which, appropriately enough, grants abilities related to the new leader cards. 7 Wonders, Cities. The Cities expansion introduces 9 city cards to each of the age card decks. The number of city cards that are shuffled into each age's deck is equal to the number of players. This means that each age now consists of 7 play of cards. The city cards can have quite an impact on gameplay, as many of them are more powerful versions of other cards. For example, the Age 3 contingent card provides 5 shields as opposed to the 3 provided by Age 3 red cards. The cards also introduce some new concepts, such as diplomacy, which allows a player to avoid military conflict for one age, and monetary loss, which forces the player's opponents to pay coins to the bank, or lose victory points if they do not have sufficient coins. The addition of city cards takes the total number of cards playable in each age to 56. This means that 8-player games, or team games with 4 teams of 2, are possible. In the team game, partners are allowed to see each other's cards and discuss which ones to play, and the effect of diplomacy is modified. The Cities expansion also contains 3 new guild cards, 6 leader cards and 2 wonder boards, the Hagia Sophia of Byzantium and Alcatze of Petra. Many of these new additions have abilities specific to city cards or to the new concepts introduced. 7 Wonders, Wonder Pack. This expansion adds 4 wonder boards, Abu Simbel, the Great Wall of China, Stonehenge and the Mannequin P of Brussels, all 4 offer new abilities. 7 Wonders, Babel. Introducing the Tower of Babel, individual players can decide if they want to bring assistance to the emerging civilization by participating in the construction of its tower and surrounding monuments. 7 Wonders, Duel, a spin-off game in the same universe, only playable by 2 players. Fan expansions equals, several fan expansions are available, all of which feature the same outstanding artwork as the original game. These can be downloaded for free at Board Game Geek and printed at either a print shop or a home printer. Ruins. Ruins introduces a new set of cards, which are played at the beginning of the game. In contrast to other cards in the game, every ruin card has a negative effect on the player him/herself. At the beginning of the game, a deck of 4 ruin cards is built, of which every player must play 3. A ruin card only has effect on the player who plays it. The expansion also includes reconstruction tokens, which can be accessed by new leaders and wonder boards. These reconstruction tokens reverse the effect of ruin cards. This expansion should be particularly attractive to players who want to be challenged during the game and/or who want to have any even more asymmetric gaming experience. Myths. Myths introduces mythology to the game. Before each age 3 myths cards featuring different gods and ancient heroes are drawn. One of these cards can then be played during the card drafting phase. Each god hero must be pleased by a gift and grants a special condition. This expansion is very thematic and fits very well with the setting age of the Seven Wonders base game. It should be very attractive to players who want to have even more degrees of playing freedom and interaction with other players. Empires. Empires introduces aggression to the game, and adds 2 game variants, one for 2-player games. The other for team games, in which sets of 2 players play together in an empire, that is made up by 2 non-rivaling cities. The expansion also contains a market expansion, that allows all players direct access to certain resources or victory points. The best way to understand this is that you are trading with a bank, rather than your left or right player. Players who like to play military cards and want to have more options when trading will particularly like this expansion. Sailors. Sailors introduces sailboats to the game, which allow players to interact with players other than to their direct left and right. Includes a new set of cards that allow military conflict, trading, etc. with players all across the table. This expansion has no effect on games of 2 or 3 players, in which every player can interact with any other player anyway, but should be particularly attractive to large player groups who want to have more interaction with other gamers. Lost Wonders and Lost Wonders 2, this one introduces 35 new city boards, most of which are highly thematic and fit very well into the Seven Wonders base game. Several of these boards can only be played if the official expansions are available. Game Wonders introduces 12 new city boards, most of which are highly thematic and fit very well into the Seven Wonders base game. Several of these boards can only be played if the official expansions are available. Wonders Collection, this expansion features 50 Wonder boards, some of which are repetitive from Lost Wonders 1+2 and Game Wonders. All boards are highly thematic and fit very well into the Seven Wonders base game. Promotional expansions Mannequin P, 7 Wonders, Leaders Stevie Wonder promo card, Catan Wonder, 7 Wonders, Leaders Louis Armstrong promo card, 7 Wonders, Leaders Esteban promo card, 7 Wonders, Leaders Will Wheaton promo card. Honors, 2010 Treat Track nominee, 2011 As Dog, Jadalona Copyright nominee, 2011 Golden Geek Best Board Game Artwork Presentation nominee, 2011 Golden Geek Best Card Game nominee, 2011 Golden Geek Best Family Board Game nominee, 2011 Golden Geek Best Innovative Board Game nominee, 2011 Golden Geek Best Party Board Game nominee, 2011 Golden Geek Best Strategy Board Game nominee, 2011 Gauden Ludo nominee, 2011 Gra Rock Game of the Year nominee, 2011 Goldbricken Best Adult Game nominee, 2011 Hurrah Rock nominee, 2011 International Gamers Awards, General Strategy Multiplayer nominee, 2011 Japan Board Game Prize Voters Selection nominee, 2011 Jota Best Artwork nominee, 2011 Jota Best Card Game nominee, 2011 Jota Best Light Board Game nominee, 2011 Juego del Plus or Minus O Tico nominee, 2011 Lucca Games Best Board Game nominee, 2011 Nederlands Spellenprijs nominee, 2011 Spiel des Jahres Kennerspiel Game of the Year nominee, 2011 Worden Pelly Adult Game of the Year nominee, 2011 Board Games Australia Awards Best International Game nominee, 2012 Board Games Australia Awards Best International Game nominee. Awards, 2010 Treat Track Dog, Game of the Year, winner. 2010 Meeple's Choice Award, winner. 2011 Kennerspiel des Jahres, Connoisseurs Game of the Year, winner. 2011 Deutscher Spielpreis, winner. 2011 Les Trois Liz, Game of the Year, winner. 2011 Worden Equestempelli, Adult Game of the Year, winner. 2011 Lucca Games, Migliagico di Carte, winner. References. External links, 7 Wonders at Board Game Geek, 7 Wonders for Android.